Hi, welcome back to the Power Podcast, Power of Oneness Revealed. Today I want to talk about a woman most people rarely talk about. When people think about the book of Esther, they usually think about Esther, the brave queen who saved her people. But before Esther ever appeared in the story, there was another queen. Her name was Vashti. And even though her story is short, her decision changed everything. The scene takes place in the Persian Empire. The king Xerxes is hosting an enormous royal banquet. It lasted for 187 days. There is wine, there is celebration. There are powerful men gathered together. And in the middle of this celebration, the king sends for Queen Vashti, but he doesn't call her to honor her. He calls her to display her beauty in front of the guests. In other words, she's been summoned not as queen, but as an object. And then something unexpected happens. The Bible records her response in a very simple way. She refused to come. No speech, no explanation, just a decision. No. And that one word created a crisis in the entire system. Because when someone refuses to participate in something that is wrong, the system that depended on their silence begins to shake. Vashti lost her crown that day, but she kept something that far more important, her dignity. And that's something many people today can relate to. There are moments in life where we feel pressure to accept things that do not honor who we are. Pressure to fit in, pressure to stay silent, pressure to keep the peace even when something feels deeply wrong. But Vashti reminds us of something powerful. Saying no to something that honors you is not rebellion. Sometimes it's integrity. Her story also reminds us that what looks like a loss in a moment may actually be a turning point into a much bigger story. Because Vashti's decision created space for another chapter to begin. The chapter where Esther would eventually rise. Sometimes the end of one season is what makes the next one possible. And maybe that's the reflection for today. If you ever had to walk away from something difficult, if you ever had to say no, when it would have been easier to say yes, maybe that moment wasn't failure. Maybe it was a step forward protecting the person you were meant to become. Ciao.